Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me at The Lonely Vine. So normally on a Wednesday I'm doing the wines for under $20, but I really wanted to continue kind of the topic I was talking about in Monday's blind wine episode when I was, saying it's difficult for me to compare or distinguish between Sangiovese and Nebbiolo. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and watch it, or the context I gave you may be enough. So what I wanted to do today is I actually have two wines. I have a 2006 Costa di Busi. This is a Barolo. So this will be the Nebbiolo grape for our little experiment here. And on the Sangiovese side, I have a Casa Lo Sette. It's a 2009 Chianti Classico. It probably is a blend, but it should be primarily Sangiovese. So what I want to do here is just quickly try to break the two down side by side to try and highlight differences between the two that will be readily available the next time I'm presented with this blind tasting quandary. And I did before, I went down this road, I did do some searches on the internet trying to find anything that would, give an idea of specifically what to look for between the two, and I didn't find a lot. It was like the first time I can think of that the Google and the interwebs didn't give me what I wanted. So I'm going to get right into it because I don't know how long this will take, but let's see what happens. So in my right hand, I'll be pouring the Barolo, and in my left hand, the Sangiovese, or Chianti Classico. All right, so color-wise, let's look at that first. Look pretty similar in color. I'm gonna tip them down here and look, and they're both. I can see through both of them. They're both kind of ruby in color. The one difference I do see though, and granted, this is just a bottle each. This isn't scientific by any means. But with the Barolo, as it gets towards the edge, it has a little bit more, of a salmon kind of orange color, whereas the Sangiovese is much more on the pink side. Now, granted, there's 3 years difference between these. The Barolo is 2006, so it's a little bit older. So I could see a little bit more of that darkening or that orangish color there from that. But just with these two, that's an immediate difference I notice. Let's look at, okay, now, all right, this will be difficult to show, but I'm gonna try. So with the Barolo, I'm gonna hold up this white background, and as I spin the glass, you're seeing a little bit of staining on the glass that has the wine remaining on it, but not much. Now, when I do it with the Sangiovese, you can see that. I mean, do you see there is a lot more staining, a lot more of that residual color left on the glass. So there is one difference right away for these two, at least, that the Sangiovese has more of that wine staining on the glass. Okay, let's go into the nose. I'll start with the Barolo again. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of cellar dust, a little bit of the licorice or that anise. I'm probably saying that wrong. Correct me if I am. I get some cherry, kind of some sour cherry kind of thing going on there. Okay. Now for the Sangiovese. Okay, so they're one of the problems is I think that they have a lot of the same characteristics. And they do, but this is kind of why I want to do them side by side, is there's drastic differences with them as well. The first thing that really jumps out at me between the two is the Barolo. I get a lot more of it has more of a fruit kind of smell to it, whereas the Sangiovese has much more of an earthiness, kind of a foresty kind of scent to it. I mean, that's the first thing that really that I noticed. I also get a little bit of you know, like a humidor or cedar box kind of thing going on. And yeah, so, you know, and I get that cherry kind of thing going on here too. Almost, you know what, let's do one more thing here. Yeah, there's just this, you know, it's a little bit more on the fruit side, or a little bit of a fresher or cleaner kind of scent, and this one's got a little bit of more funk or a little bit of earthiness to it. And you know, a little bit of that cedar box humidor kind of thing, and not much over here at all. And specifically, I just want to see if I can do that. I was specifically looking to see if one had more, because I get a lot of tartness when I smell these wines, and I was looking to see if one had more dramatic or less in the tartness area, and they're really similar there. Okay, so that's it there. Just on the Barolo side or the Nebbiolo side, you know, it just seemed to have a little bit more clean, fresh kind of smell, and the Sangiovese a little bit more earth, a little bit more funk going on with it. All right, so let's move on to the palate. Now, expectations are that I think I'll have the Sangiovese first. So let's do that. Okay, nice acid level to it. There's a little bit of tannic structure there. Some nice fruit to it. Kind of, there's a lushness to it that I really like. I'm getting cherries coming through. I'm getting some cranberry. Okay, let's move on to the Barolo. Okay. So for these two, and this is the most dramatic difference between the two so far out of all the things, is the tannic level and the structure of the Barolo, which you'd expect, right? But really putting them side by side made it stand out drastically how much more tannic that this Nebbiolo is than this Sangiovese. I'll go back to this one now, which would be interesting after the Nebbiolo. Between these two, I get a little bit more sense of the alcohol in the Barolo, but I think that would be more towards the wines specifically. But definitely, I mean, there are some very similar flavor profiles here. That cherry really comes through, that tartness really comes through. There's some cranberry in both. But really, you know, the acid level is pretty similar, although I think I would say the Sangiovese has more acid than the Barolo or the Nebbiolo, but the tannic structure is drastically different. So there you go. That helped me immensely. You know, I don't know if anybody else out there has been looking for that, but if you are, I hope this helped out. And this, you know, this is a really good way. You know, I wish I could do this more often. Have 2, 3 differing wines, similar families, you know, or you know, same grape, different region, to really look at the differences side by side, because that's when you can really see it. You know, you can have your notes and everything else, but when you're got them right next to each other and can taste them, that's when you really pick them up. You know, the budget doesn't really allow me to be out 2 to 3 bottles every tasting, because you know, one, I'd be dumping a lot of it out, and that's just not even okay. Okay, so good stuff for me. I hope it was for you. Question of the day, or for the show, I should say. I have no question for today's show. So I'll just leave with no question. How about you ask me a question? There it is. The question of the day is, what do you want to ask me? Leave something in the comments. If you're on the website, sign up for the email list. Find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook, find me on Google+. And until next time, everybody, cheers.